And officially, good morning, happy Wednesday. Welcome out to the Market Watch Group. Wednesday Market Midpoint. We get a chance to just stop, check in. What did we think was going to happen this week? What were the markers we established? So I hope you kind of see that pattern, right? Where we're like, hey, here's what we're looking for. Something like this would make us more bullish. Something like this would make us more bearish. If we saw this, we're maybe going to be waiting still. And that way, during the week, as we process the day to day and watch the various aspects of the underlying characteristics we evaluate, the short term, the long term, the volume, the VIX. We don't do a day-to-day major market or sector rotation, but we still keep an eye on and say, oh, look, we scored our sectors down because of this. But all of a sudden, when you look, you say, oh, man, the financials really had a strong week. Communication services had a pretty strong week. Tech had a strong week. So you're thinking, oh, well, wait a second here. Are the buyers making that run that we think, oh, that run is going to make me less inclined to, put on bear trades because I'm thinking, oh, hold on, I'm sensing a bit of a shift here. I still think there's going to be some volatility, right? Our volatility right now at a low is near 20. So we still expect some choppiness here. I thought Miguel, who just joined us, good morning, had a great comment about managing his FOMO, which I think we all get, that fear of missing out. Oh, the market's it's going to take off without me. I better be ready, right? Where it's like, well, wait a second. Right? That's the time when we do that. We jump in. It gets a half a day in our favor, and then it falls apart. And you're like, oh, why did I get it? Right? And those. So we're trying to stay in front of it with our actions, with our thought process, with our analysis, especially with our market posture being the lowest it's been in literally 18 months. Keep in mind, this is for education illustrated purposes only. Nothing we do is intended to be a recommendation to buy or sell any financial security or product. We're not brokers. We're not advisors. What are we going to do today? Let's look at the futures and the opening analysis. Let's take a peek at our future or our market posture. Let's look at those components and just evaluate, is there something shifting? Do we think the score looks like it's going to move towards stability, move towards upward, or maybe settle for a little while? Now, we do know that we have a binary date coming up. Did we I never actually looked into it. Is there a tariff reveal party? Did anyone look into that seriously to see if there's... Anyways. But that's the date I'm referring to, right? That binary event. Why do I say a binary event? Because it's one of those things that has such a ability to act as a catalyst, but we don't know, right, what the information is going to be, and therefore which way it's going to go. So it's like when there's a lot build up into a jobs report or a Fed announcement or things like that, right? When there's a debt ceiling deadline, they're like, oh, if they don't get it done, right? Things like that, where we're like, we know that debt or that deadline, and it's looming, and there's speculation and conjecture about, what it may be, and what, the rumors are it's going to be targeted is the verb that they're using now. Targeted. Well, the verb before was, the adjective. The adjective before was reciprocal, right? So, anyways. Oh, you're not seeing the screen? Oh, shit. How about now? I just reset it. It said it was sharing on my end too. It's like your screen is sharing. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Thanks, Miguel. Appreciate that. So let's revisit the posture. Let's talk about open trades. You're probably still pushing a couple of things. I wouldn't expect anyone's pushing a lot of things, right? So what's the thought process for managing? Are you tight with your stops, etc.? Setups, I do actually think we have a few setups. We'll look at those and talk about trading plan progress of the week, which is section 2. I promise you, if you put the time in, so this is, Chris, especially for you, one of the things that we're doing is a weekly loop. It lasts 8 weeks because there are 8 sections in our trading plans, right? Section 1 is personal information. Section 2 is market posturing. Section 3 is trading rules, right? So if you haven't seen it, maybe at the end I'll be able to pop in for a quick second and show you where those resources are. But look around the Circle community because there's a lot of resources, documents, plans, logs, educational materials that you can view at your leisure, things like that. Awesome. Okay, but we're on stop 2, which means if you're late, you can hurry and grab a quick pass at your personal information and then jump onto the line with us. And we're on section 2, which is all about how we posture the market and establish our position, our what it means to us to have that established, the implications. Okay, futures. Let's just take a quick peek. There's where we ended. So yesterday we had this day. We talked about the potential of an abandoned baby / island reversal. Okay, we didn't get it. We didn't get much further. It's still actually an island reversal could still set up. So the concept of us having this gap and then not being able to get anywhere. So let's say today, I think we're here. Let's say we get another doji today, and then we have a gap down into this, and it leaves this island sitting there. Island reversal. That definitely would have me more inclined to think we're at least retesting the lows at that point. That's with the gap though, right? I don't mean just something like if it gaps like that, then I'm like, ooh, I think I'm going to put on a continuation trade that just rides 15, 20 points. Maybe it breaks down even lower still. Who knows? So how we start the next cycle matters. As of right now, if we doji and then we just simply have like a nice little pullback like this, well, we already said this is the biggest we've seen from the buyers in this entire stretch. And this is enough that we're like, okay, they smashed it. Have they grabbed it? Not yet. The grab is down here, right? But that's what we're looking for is if the sellers now come in, and the sellers who have been doing things like this and like this are only able to do something like this, right? That minor pullback that says, wait, that demand supply pressure has shifted. That's definitely right. We're going to love that. Whatever we've said about tariffs or wars or, anything else, doesn't matter. We're technicians. We look at the market. What do you see? That's all, right? We want to be aware of what's going on around us, but what do you see? We just saw buyers do more than they had done. So we can't just be like, all right, now let's see if the sellers are going to, as of right now, I think the sellers have lost their edge. If they start with a fury right there at the beginning, then maybe I'd be like, oh, nope, they're still here. Okay. Does that make sense? Anyways, let's just take a quick peek at the ESs and see where we're at. And then we'll pull up our posture. So that's with the futures. So the futures are kind of showing us whatever we got here on Monday when we had that buying. It's not getting much follow through yet. Could it come? Sure. With a binary event on April 2nd, what's our thought? My thought is that might be what leads to just sort of a drift type pullback where the market just sort of eases back a little bit, right? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Remember, though, that at this point right here, We said, if this thing is going to V, you have to get in now, or else you'll be watching it. It's hard to trade coming into this. So hopefully you got in something down there that you're able to hold on to some of it, and maybe something else coming through this consolidation like that. Volume is on a lower trend with an exclamation point, John Walsh wants to exclaim, and he should be shouting it from the rooftops, because that's true. That is absolutely. Now, organically, the volume that we saw here has already started dropping off. We saw that in our analysis. On Sunday. We saw the volume, it eased from a minus 0.75 out of a -1, right? Let me pull that up. Where's my market posture? Yeah, that's a great observation, John. I 100% agree with that. We saw the volume here, and it increased a little bit. And it wasn't because we saw buyers. It's because we've seen less sellers, right? You can see that. If we saw less sellers and buyers, if we saw an above average volume day. Now, one of the problems is all of these sellers, look what they did. The average volume before this was 40. Where is it? Oh, I'm on ES. Let me get to SPY now. Sorry. And I love everyone joining in and stuff. Kami, good to see you. Good morning. Running right on time. Okay, so oh yeah, we opened. I didn't hear my opening bell go off. I think my volume's turned down. We opened. We're flat. We did get one above average volume day back here, but we called it a tie because it gapped down but then ran up. So the problem is that the volume back here was 40 million and the volume up here, and it's still the same kind of a situation, John, even on the SPY here. You can kind of see that it's not trading as much, right? They're not getting to that level. So we went from a 40 million average to a 70 million average. I mean, it's much harder to get to average in that situation. Okay, let's just take a quick peek at Yahoo to see what the market's talking about this morning. Okay, there we go. Musk is now back in the building. The Tesla one. Okay, let's see. Yeah, you can see that we were mostly just flat. Oil was up a little bit. Everything else was pretty flat. Couple of things about Tesla. Tariff latest. So you can see this is the again, future stall, tariffs in the driver's seat. Trump doesn't want too many exemptions. So we're back to the tariff reveal party. Whether it comes in an envelope or not, I'm still calling it April 2nd, the tariff reveal party. I don't know if they all hit at once. I mean, I know there's a lot of calculus going into it. A lot of calculus going into it because apparently they're like, if you buy oil from this country, you're going to get hit with this and this. But if you buy wheat from this country, I don't know. There seems to be a lot to keep track of in there. And the more you have to keep track of, the more people you have to hire to keep track of it. Now our government's getting big again. Can't win, it's politics. You can't win. You can't be happy. All right. Let's get to our, oh no, we do want to look at the calendar. I want to stop for a second and say hello to Larry Bowman who joined. Larry, I don't know how long you've been a member, but when I notice a new name, I like to just call out and say hello and welcome, and hope you feel comfortable participating, answering, asking questions. making observations. What do we have going on? Today we have a couple of Fed speakers, Neil Kashkari, and you know that I evaluate our Fed sub-chair people based on their names. And obviously, Goolsby is our guy, goolsbyforfed.com. We love Austin Goolsby the most, but Neil Kashkari is not bad. And I've never heard this one. Is it St. Louis new? Alberto Muzalam? That's a good name. That's a fun name. Alberto Muzalam. I like it. He could be Goolsby's right-hand man for all what do we have? Jobless claims tomorrow. Not a lot of expectation there. If they pop to 250, you'll see the market get nervous. People are nervous enough now, right? We're not going to be nervous until we see 3 weeks in a row above 250. Then we'll be like, oh, that's getting dicey. But I think you'll actually see the market react the next time it pops above 250. Like it hits 260, 270, and you'll see people be like, oh, there's the weakness we've been waiting for in the labor market, right? There's a lot of that going on, so just be aware of that. GDP expected to stay flat, but it's just a revision. What are we waiting for this week? Friday. What do we have? We've got income. Income's expected to drop marginally. We've got spending, which is supposed to increase. Here's the thing. We've been talking about this the entire time that we've been fighting inflation, where we're like, oh, they'll make comments. They're like, oh, spending is down. And you're like, well, it has to be. If you want prices to ease up, spending has to also ease up. Otherwise, supply and demand says prices will stay high. If people keep buying, they'll stay high. So spending dropped for a little bit, which helped, but is now expected to tick back up. What are we really looking for? We're looking for PCE this week. That's going to be a big one. Why? Because right now the Fed came out and essentially said, yes, we're still willing to do 2 cuts this year. But everything hinges on the tariffs. Like they basically called it out and they said it's going to be dependent upon the tariffs. All right. So that's why we're stuck watching it. That's why we're all a little frustrated because we just don't know when and what information may come out, whether it's going to be like, oh, now I'm going to hit you with tariffs. Boom, market sells off. Now I'm going to take them off. Market rallies a little bit. Little bit of a yo-yo. It's tough. But we also recognize that our market posture is in a zero. What expectations do I have that I'm going to go find a bunch of good trades right now? Not many. That was the reminder. I loved how Miguel put it when he said, when I'm thinking this market might be going somewhere without me, I look at the posture. We don't see anything like that yet, right? Let's look at the components real fast and then we'll hit the watch list. This week, we did get, we're going to give it 1/4 point for that breakout right there. So if you look at our short term, where'd you go? Short term is at 0.25. That's barely positive. That would be if we thought this thing was going to end up like this. That's 0.25, barely going up, slightly above, sideways, right? The fact that it broke, we're going to score that. We're going to say, all right, that's worth 1/4 point right there, 0.25. We're going to raise it up. I wouldn't expect more than that, most likely. But, yeah, we're going to say, okay, that got something. Perfect. Long term, no change. It's just bouncing off this new line that we're thinking about, this long-term trend line that we have drawn, representative. You can see this. We've been in this. We were in this back here, and then it accelerated into this green-blue, and then it sort of slowed down, and now it's falling back. And what are we going to hope? We hope that it starts into this red, accelerates into a green. That's what we hope. That's what it's going to look like if it's going to come, which is why we don't want to take our eye off of this perspective. This is something that has held on. You'll notice at the end of the day now, when our market posture dipped all the way to zero, the long-term trend was the one thing that really was holding up right now, that would keep us in a position that if this turns to 0.5, if this gets a little better by 0.25, And then the VIX gets better by 0.25, and we pop back to a 1 or a 1.25. Let me go back just to remind you of what it looks like. This is where, no, where are we? This is where October of 23 was the last time we dipped down all the way to a minus 0.5. And you'll notice that the next thing we got was that increase, then that increase, then that increase. And after that correction, by December and January, we were sixes and we were bullish. And then there was a little pause, bullish. So we'll get there, right? That's kind of what I feel like Miguel was saying. And what I'm saying is trust our process. Trust that the market will tell you. It will tell you everything you need. It'll give you the information. If we look at it the right way and we look at it, right, we're not trying to follow the talking heads. Whatever we do here, we expect to hear a week or two later, in order to say, yeah, okay, we're still where we want to be positioned with how we're reading the market. Let's pop in. So hopefully you feel pretty good about that. But yeah, what we're seeing with the buyers, I think we're seeing that validation, and I think we're looking at expectations of an improvement, at least as of now. Okay, let's get to the watch list. Now, a lot of these I had still been at the start of this week thinking the buyers just hadn't done enough. This here wasn't enough. But now, all of a sudden, when we get a couple extra days, a few extra days, and you draw that in, you're thinking, well, maybe. Right? Maybe. Now, what would make me bullish is if this pulls back and it only pulls back to here, or maybe even a little bit lower, and then it turns. Those are the kinds of things. I'm not looking at this thinking, you know what, I think it's bearish. I'm looking at this thinking, yeah, it looks like the buyers are they're pushing, they're trying. So an example of this would be right here. Popped up, it broke out, it pulled back down, it got that higher low, and that's our trade, right? Right as we get that first candle, that cross, it's a nice trade that popped out of that. It only gave one. After that, it just sort of fell apart. That's fine. I mean, if it gives me one, it gives me one. I've got 70 on my list, right? So that's okay. We've got a lot that are kind of showing signals, and some of those would move into trends and some wouldn't. But what I'm saying is we want to see some of the times out of these corrections when it's subtle. There's subtleties going on. ABBV, we're seeing a diminishment in healthcare. Right, I sure know how to call my ability in healthcare. I look back and I find is a bit. I don't trade a lot of healthcare, and every now and again, when it starts to get defensive, I'm like, okay, I'll capitulate and put one on. That's the bottom. Oh goodness, AEE. We were looking to see, does this hold? Was this? We liked it. The trend was good. A little bit of a hiccup. I need a little more, maybe another day like that, and I'd say, oh yeah, let's see if this thing makes to a run at 105 again, right? And resumes that prior trend. Because why? Because we're starting to see the buyers resume, and that was what's necessary. Amazon was in a hell of a downward consolidation, and then what? And then we got something different, and there was some volume with it, even if it's just on one day. We saw this, and now it's like, hey, if the sellers come back and that happens, that's what we're looking for. What else will that do? That'll rejuvenate consumer staples, or excuse me, consumer discretionary. Amazon's the 800-pound gorilla in the consumer discretionary space. So if we can see Amazon start to pick up, what do we think about the market? We're like, oh, hey, Amazon can pull a lot of other stocks with it. No other stocks are going to pull Amazon. Amazon does for itself or it doesn't. Alibaba, nice strong stock. It had a surge here, and it kind of slowed down, but it's holding up and sitting at a support level. So if we see a turn, and again, they've got some favorable governmental relations, and it's a big retailer. So if consumer, big wholesaler, not retailer, wholesaler, they sell to the retailers. Then there's possibility in here for sure. Bank of America, Stephen here, just keeps on going, right? Like that's the financials showing this strength. It got all the way back to the 50, all the way back to this old low. It's going to have a hard time there, I would imagine. Maybe it wiggles a little through, but if it pulls back like this, yeah, that's something that has obvious potential for us. BX, even BX, right? Where it's like here, I'm thinking it's struggling. It's still in this, but now all of a sudden we're above it, right? So I'm not seeing a lot of things. One of the things I want to point out is I'm not seeing a lot of things that I'm like, ooh, this is a nice bearish setup. So if we are seeing a lot of things here up in this overbought zone, right? Where we have a tendency to see it pull back from. But I'm not seeing things that I'm thinking that's where I want to trade, speculating to the downside, expecting a lower low or looking for a lower low. We might see one. Caterpillar's more sideways, CIEN. See, that's a little bit more, right? You can kind of see we didn't have much there, and we haven't gotten much since. So there's definitely some of these that I think, if I'm going to put something on to the downside, and with my posture at a 0, I'm still inclined to. If the posture starts to improve, right? If we get to like a 1 1/4, and then we go to 2.5, yeah, we're not thinking, oh, am I still no. No, we're going with the momentum. Remember that it's not just the posture score, but the posture momentum that we're paying attention to. CLS. So that was one that looked like it was going to roll there, that I looked for speculatively, but the market kept recovering. So obviously that put's not going to do well. Shut it down quickly. Not the next day, but the next day after, and early in the day. And now what? Now it's looking like the buyers maybe got control. And if this thing sells off and then stabilizes and turns, that's the kind of thing. Now, I don't think with CLS, I haven't traded it enough. I'll be looking for other things to lead us bullishly. I'm just saying that the more we see that pattern, the more we're thinking, hey, that's a shift. That's shifting the entire market in that way. CME looks great. That's one I'm thinking about. If I get a bullish candle coming out of this, that would definitely ignite me into something. Trading on that looks good. Cisco. Actually, that's an interesting one right there, where we never got too far below the 50, and it just sort of had like this wiggle waggle, and then it's starting to turn. Even though it's just entering this zone here, if we're just breaking that 50, this thing could. I'm looking at this one, Cisco. Delta, of course, we want to see how today finishes. So a lot of them that just kept on going. Like they just sort of sneakily got a big wave of buyers that were now thinking, let's see how the sellers do on the next cycle. There's the Dow. Here's Duke Energy. Utility still looks like it has some strength. I still think Duke has viability. There's Fastenal. Fiserv, nothing. Right? Even here was like, is this thing going to roll over? No, a little higher still. Little higher still. So what are some people doing? Ooh, like this one, Flex. Flex is now in its setup. For me, if this comes into this space and turns, someone asked about bull flags yesterday. This is what a bull flag is going to look like. Something like this, where we're looking for it. If it comes a little farther, then breaks out of that flag. I don't care that this is overbought when this is making this type of a recovery. Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm seeing more and more of the buyers. There's Fox. GE Vernova. GE Vernova, what's it doing? It made a big push. Now it's pulling back. You've got a window here where anything in here is a higher low. Anything in there, is above the consolidation where it broke out of. It's subtle, but it's happening. I think we're seeing it. Which means what? Even though our posture is still down and the vol's still up, I would imagine some of you are still doing some intraday trading, some day trading, some momentum trading. What would this inform me? It would tell me that I'm looking to be more bullish than bearish on those. I'm looking to find opportunities capitalizing on what we see as a shift. So if I'm going to go intraday, I'm not like, oh, I'll trade up and then trade down. No, I'll trade up and then I'll wait down. And then I'll trade up and wait down. Because why? Because overall, right now, the momentum is shifting more to the buyers. Okay. Let me speed up a little bit here so I can get to the trading plan. Gilead, that looks bullish. Oh no, that's gold. I was just on Gilead. Gilead, I think you could take that as a continuation. This would be your last day. This would be your first hike and ashy day, I would imagine. Whoops. Yep. Last red, first white, first momentum. This is your chance. I actually like this one too. I'm thinking about that. And I know you're like, Scott, healthcare. I know. Got to trade the signals. Gold. Man, you guys got quiet today. It was like lively and then it got quiet. Gold looks bullish and setting up. Google does not look good still. Although it had enough of a pop. I mean, it popped off the bottom a little bit more than it did back here. Goldman Sachs. I was not feeling it with Goldman. Goldman has absolutely recovered. Strong recovery. Next pullback for Goldman or Bank of America should be strong. Robinhood's already in the pullback. That's a flag developing right there. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. It's flagging up here, or pull up, flag down. If it pulls down and then pops, that's what we're looking for right there. Okay. Let's keep going. How Met waiting for the pullback? Yeah, a lot of things now where it's just like, hey, small pullback and we're in. ICE waiting for the pullback. IWM's trying. The one that I had settled on of the three consumer staple Ks was KR. Let's see if Coke looks okay. Well, I might still look at one of those. MasterCard, enough of a move to the upside. Meta. There's the consolidation. There's the break. Now it's starting its pullback, and we have a great opportunity for Meta if it comes in here. And I would definitely expect this to be where it finds right? Look back at this zone here, how many times it's consolidated through that zone. So yeah, I like Meta. I'd like to see Meta again. We know it's got potential at 750 basically. Morgan Stanley on a pullback. Microsoft, maybe even that one. Everything's done enough. We've seen it. There's my NI still going. I'm still riding it. Luckily, I did the stock, so it's not. Nvidia on a hiccup. You've got to make a decision. Are you gonna, if you took the trade now? PJ didn't take it yet, and he might be waiting still. I took it. I'm in it. I'm not gonna close till I break support on this one. Not great that the market's feeling okay, and this one's down a little bit. Why? Well, this had the same signal, right? 1, 2, 3, bam. That's what we were looking for. Just, we're still in a funny place. I've got to take them. I have to be willing to jump in. That's why we're jumping in probably a little smaller and a little lighter than usual. Palantir setting up. I love Palantir. I'll trade it if it drops and bounces off that 50. PM, maybe. That's another consumer discretionary. The Qs, that's what we were looking for. A little bit not so great today, but overall, we have at least positive momentum showing the early signs of a breakout pattern. It's not fully complete until the sellers can't push it back down. Then we're like, okay, now our expectations for buyers is even higher. Now I'm going to do more trades bullishly when I get the signals. I still haven't seen one that I like bearishly yet. They've all just moved a little too far, which means what? Which means there's one. Reddit's not bad. Just a little blip up and rolling over now. That's not bad for something to keep going down. So right as I say, I can't find something. Does that mean I wouldn't put something bearish on? No, it means that I would put a put on the SPY. It's balance. You need balance possibly. It'll be a hedge if you have some bullish trades on right now. We'll talk about that hedge. Rocket Labs is here. RTX. I don't know about that one. SE's kind of failing to launch. That's interesting. You can see the SPY is now, starting to show a little bit of selling stress. So we'll see what that looks like. And if this is the start of our pullback move, toast. That pullback move will set up a lot of trades, as you can see by our watch list. TPR. And how's Tesla look? So Tesla is now on a consolidation. So if this pulls back and turns and you're like, hey, should we buy Tesla? That is absolutely a buy signal on Tesla. Will I buy it? I don't know. TSM, I like PLTR much better. I'm going to be sticking on that one. Twilio, nothing there yet. Visa. Yeah, you can see it's across the board, across industries. There's Walmart. Walmart also looks a little bit lackluster. Let's look at the VIX and then a quick peek at the trading plan. We don't have a higher low. It's a lower low. We took out that prior low. But if we think this thing is going to turn, is this still a good time for a hedge? 100%. We always say that. It's the same thing we said back here when it wasn't a higher low, but it looked like it was going to turn. We said, is that a good time to hedge? 100%. Always a good time to think about a hedge. Yes, that you especially if you've started putting more bullish trades on now. So, okay, real quickly here, and I'll end us on time. Don't forget about your trading plan. If you missed week 1, you can jump in and catch up real quick and easy. 3 bullet points of strengths, 3 bullet points of weakness, a paragraph for commitment and discipline, a paragraph for mission statement, paragraph for vision. What are we doing now? We're doing market forecasting. These are our 6 components that create our market posture routine. That creates our score. Our trading posture is our day-to-day. Like today, what is our trading posture? Today, I'm willing to put on a bullish trade, but potentially, if I see one, I'm willing to put on a bearish trade, which means my trading posture is balanced. If I'm more bullish, I'll only put one on and then hedge or one or the other. What are the implications? You should be knowing at any given time, what types of trades are you looking for? How long should those trades last? What types of risk management are you implementing right now? My risk management levels are lower right now, obviously. What strategies or systems make sense in this market, and how are you going to adjust your trade management tactics? When do you scale out? How much do you scale, etc.? These things should be dictated on a market level so that we're not having to figure them out on a trade by trade basis. That's a lot of work for you. That's going to create a lot of stress for you. That's part of what the market posture does, is gives you that overarching, like, here's how I should be thinking about this. So what it's created for us right now is a little bit of caution. So once you get that in place, I think you'll find that it is a constant routine. Even if you leave the group, if you're trading, you'll be feeling comfortable with your ability to analyze the market. Okay. Yeah, I think, the probability of an alert today is probably low with the market starting to pull back. We're going to be patient. Maybe we put out a bear alert. Maybe we put out like an SPY hedge type alert just to kind of help with that. I know a lot of people liked when we did that last time. So it's good to see everybody. What do we have going on? Glenn will be here with us for the last hour. So if you're around, pop in, join him. Let's see what this market brings. I'm not expecting too much with the inflation data on Friday and the tariff reveal party early next week. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. As always, happy trading. Oh, Bob Walker, the puppy's growing like a weed. Thanks for asking. See you all soon.